Hello, my name is Deborah Seymour Mackay. I'm a 1977 graduate of Mount Carmel High School in Van Cleve, Kentucky. Thank you for asking me to share my story about Mount Carmel. In a sense, it's really a story of my family. Don and Betty Seymour, my parents, attended Mount Carmel High School from 1953 to 1957. And then after graduating from the then Kentucky Mountain Bible Institute, they entered the pastorate. And 7 years later, they moved our family to the South Pacific island of Papua New Guinea, north of Australia. My older sister Marty was 6, I was 4, and my younger brother Mark was 3. Our youngest brother David was born in Goroka, New Guinea. Mom and Dad were pioneers of a mission work among the Debby people in the Southern Highlands province. Well, God blessed those years with many salvations and full surrenders to the Lord, and the church in the interior of New Guinea is still going strong today by God's help. My sis Marty returned to the States in 1972 to enter Mount Carmel High School, and the next year, when our family made a final return from Papua New Guinea, I followed her to Mount Carmel and entered as a freshman. I was 13 years old. That first year, I lived in the international room on the second floor, the corner of the administration building, over what was then Mrs. Doris Higgins and Miss Grace Davis's Spanish classroom. It felt wonderful to live with proud Virgin Islander Cheryl Smith. Smitty, if you're watching, shout out to you, sis. And Lydia Powdrell, a Brit, another missionary kid from Bangalore, India, as well as with my beloved sis Marty. These girls had spent their formative years outside the U.S., so I didn't feel that different to them. And they were also really fun girls whose antics and pranks just kept us laughing a lot. So many vivid ad-building memories come flooding back. Algebra class with Mr. Detweiler and then Mr. Nyhoff, and my math brain would absorb the formulas as long as they kept talking. But by the time I got to study hall, it was all a mystery again. Or Mr. Robert Cundiff's civics and government class with his dry and witty jokes that kept us on our toes. And Miss Martha Paulo's literature period, where we memorized and declaimed Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, "Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream." Or Shakespeare, "We come to bury Caesar, not to praise him." I know that God gave me the gift of Spanish and a passion for the Spanish-speaking world as we listened to Voice of the Andes radio station on Miss Grace Davis shortwave radio. I remember one day running up the outside stairs of the ad building on my way back to the room from the library. It just so happened that Miss Henrietta News, my dorm mom, observed my double stride, and I was taking the stairs 2 at a time, and she made me come down immediately, saying, "Deborah, that is not how a lady takes the stairs," and she made me climb them one by one. Well, Miss News and Miss Swartout, my dorm moms, were short little women, but very formidable, and also just the best. Miss Swartout gave me 2 points one year at Halloween for jumping out of the closet and screaming to scare my third-year roommates Kim Liming Mengeldorf and Debbie Daniels Arnett. I really think it was Miss Swartout that I scared. And then dorm prayer meetings were always memorable when Miss News would lead or have one of the girls lead. Her Chihuahua dog Slippers, y'all remember Slippers? Also known as Petty Sweet, would sit right beside Miss News or at her feet. And I'm not going to lie, when we prayed, Petty Sweet would get tears in her little eyes and shed them and join our earnest prayer. Well, on leaving Papua New Guinea, my parents had gone on to serve in the Caribbean on the islands of Dominica, Antigua, and Barbados. This was the mid-1970s, and political unrest was happening on the island of Dominica, where my parents led the work and served at the Christian Union Bible School. On one of those nights at Mount Carmel, after 9:30 lights out bell, we could hear the telephone ringing in the hallway. The phone booth was right outside Miss News's apartment door, and in just a moment, Miss News was at our door. "Martha, Deborah, hurry, you have a call from your parents in Dominica." Through the phone, we could sense the tension in Mom and Dad's voices, but they kept reassuring us that they were fine and that they had just wanted to talk to us, to hear us, speak to them, and let us know that they loved us. We hung up the phone pretty agitated, but Miss News prayed with us that God would watch over Mom and Dad, and we settled down for the night. Only later did we learn that other expatriates on the island of Dominica had been burned to death the week before, and that my parents had called the evening that they did due to reports of Rastafarians circling the Bible school preparing to attack, and the young pastors in training had their machetes at the ready under their mattresses. Mom and Dad believed that this might be the last time they would be able to communicate with us, so they made a phone call to connect one more time. I marvel at God's grace and protection over my parents that night and for preserving them to this day. Y'all can pray for my mom and dad. I also marvel at God's goodness of taking me, after study at Circleville Bible College, to the mission field in Latin America for the next 10 years, and to Wheaton Grad School, also a stint later on in the public sector, and 16 years of teaching high school at a Spanish high school teacher in Worthington, Ohio. I'm currently serving at Capital City Church in Columbus as an associate pastor, and I will always thank God for the strong foundation in His Word and prayer through Bible classes, chapel, revival, the mentoring, the people who love me, Mrs. Agnes Nyhoff making me a birthday cake for my 14th birthday when my mom was so far away. All that training with a heart for God's world was cemented in me through the years at Mount Carmel High School. Thank you again for the chance to share a bit of my story and my family's story. God bless you, each one, and have a Merry Christmas.